We begin with this Fox News alert. Elon Musk and his DOGE team members looked back at all they have accomplished over the first 100 days of President Trump's second term. It's been a big week. Time to look at DOGE. They sat down with Fox for an interview that pulled back the curtain on what American tax dollars actually have been paying for. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. Senior advisor to the president, Elon Musk, is scaling back his schedule now with the Department of Government Efficiency. However, he says DOGE is crucial.
Is DOGE just getting started? This is a long-term enterprise.
It's a long-term enterprise because if we take our eye off the ball, the waste and fraud will come roaring back.
They can DOGE when Democrats get back in power.
We're trying to have it be such that the funding is removed, so the grants are gone. So there's a lot of work required to restart the waste and fraud.
The DOGE team detailed a few eye-popping examples of waste and abuse that they have uncovered.
They found that money was being used to rent out Caesar's Palace for parties, rent out stadiums, et cetera.
They get $50 million a year, congressional money, to give grants. These are things like alpaca farming in Peru. We actually went into the agency and found that they had loaded guns inside of their headquarters, spending money on things like private jets. And they even had a $130,000 contract with a former member of the Taliban.
Those examples and many, many, many more add up to a big number. DOGE claims it already has saved an estimated $160 billion. That's nearly $1,000 per every U.S. taxpayer. And the job is far from over. Senior national correspondent Rich Edson is at the White House. A lot of shock here, like just how much money was going out the door. Rich.
Yeah, and this is a time, Harris, where Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency are touting and defending their work in the first 100 days of the Trump administration. The Department of Government Efficiency has cut a number of government employees, contracts, workers, even entire departments, and tens of billions of dollars of what staffers have called wasteful spending.
Unfortunately, like the 100th time you've heard it, it's hard not to get a little numb. Yeah. You know, but and by the 200th time, you're like, well, okay, it's just another day at the office.
We checked, is the Small Business Administration giving loans to dead people over the age of 120? The answer was yes, and it was around $330 million in total.
DOGE is also highlighting eliminating funding for improving the marketability of peas in Guatemala. Musk says finding out where federal money ends up is a complicated task.
Exactly. Contractor, subcontractor, it's like peeling an onion. And then maybe, and sometimes it's zero. Just flat, you get to the bottom of the onion, there's nothing there.
Musk had originally targeted $2 trillion in savings. Now that he's established DOGE, he says he's going to spend more time at Tesla, where sales and company stock prices are down. His special government employee status is scheduled to end May 30th. Musk's opponents accuse DOGE of overinflating savings and cutting vital government services, medical research and aid. Democrats say government spending is actually up this year and that Musk has failed to deliver significant savings from a bloated Pentagon budget.
We heard from Elon Musk that $20 to $30 billion just disappear in the Pentagon. We heard from Elon Musk that cost-plus contracting is a gravy train. We heard from Elon Musk that he was going to cut the defense budget. And what happened? We're adding $150 billion to the defense budget.
The latest Fox News poll says 39% of registered voters approve of DOGE, 56% do not. Several federal judges have reversed some of these DOGE cuts as these cases are continuing to work their way through the federal court system. Harris?
Rich, thank you. Mary Katharine Ham, Fox News contributor, is with me now to give me her first reaction to all of this. A lot of information. I mean, just the thought of Democrats one day coming and trying to flip the switch, as Jesse was talking about, is actually pretty frightening.
Yeah, and first of all, I love that Elon and the guys that he's working with do these sit-downs. I think they should do more of them because part of this is an education program for the American taxpayer about just how bad things are inside the federal government. Every single part of every single budget is bloated. And I would note for the congressman who was saying defense is not cut, defense spending is actually in the Constitution, so that's a helpful point in its favor. The rest of this stuff, going to Caesar's Palace on taxpayer dime or giving money to your friends' nonprofits that maybe don't even exist and are basically shell companies, those are disrespectful to American taxpayers. And there is an argument that I understand that is like, we're not really dealing with spending, we're not really dealing with entitlements. I want to deal with those things. However, this is like JV level, entry level cutting. It's so ridiculous. It's so silly. It's so dispensable that we should dispense with it. And I love that they are going after these things, because tell it to American taxpayers who have never seen $10,000, $100,000 in one place. Tell them that $160 billion is chump change, right? It's not chump change. It's their money, and it is the duty of the government to spend it wisely and not take it from them and give it to other people for nonsense.
I love what you're saying. Had there been contemporaneous accountability, maybe none of this would be happening, because the American people would not have put up with this had they known. Well, those on the left and Democratic lawmakers have been going after DOGE's waste-cutting efforts since day one. Here's a look.
Unelected shadow government is conducting a hostile takeover of the federal government.
This smash and grab by Elon Musk is going to stop.
This is the most corrupt bargain we've ever seen in American history.
Fox's own Jason Chaffetz, former Utah congressman, with his recent op-ed, Democrats have made a fatal error opposing DOGE. He argues they appear to be for the fraud and waste, and without a viable, reasonable, common sense alternative, their attacks fall on deaf ears and leave most to wonder, what do Democrats really stand for? Well, I think everybody's wondering that now. Mary Katharine?
Yeah, well, let me get this straight. It's a hostile takeover by the duly elected president who put a special government employee, of which Biden had plenty, in charge of the United States Digital Service, which they renamed DOGE, but was an Obama-era creation to get, wait for it, smart technologists to come in from the private sector to add efficiency and knowledge to government, which is what they're doing. So they make up this idea that this is illegitimate in some way, but they've done that the entire time, the entire Trump era, right? It's not illegitimate. It's put in under this very specific system, and they are doing things that honor the taxpayers' dollars instead of disregarding them. And by the way, when you want to talk about like whether there is fraud going on, let's talk about just a tiny part of COVID spending. The biggest COVID fraud in the United States happened in Minnesota under Tim Walz's leadership. It was $250 million stolen from a children's food program. Okay, this stuff happens all the time, and it should be punished, and people should be held accountable for it.
Well, there are eyes on it now. It kind of makes you wonder, Mary Katharine, how Democrats are picking what they'll get behind. This is another example of that. There are now more horrific abuse accusations coming out about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He is the illegal immigrant and alleged MS-13 gang member who President Trump deported to El Salvador in March. Despite this, some Democrats are still standing behind him. Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen, who visited Garcia in prison. Remember that? That was like a big photo op. Well, now he says this.
In his first 100 days, Donald Trump is shredding the Constitution of the United States. He's violated these rights in many instances, including the illegal abduction and deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
Okay, let's just stack up the facts before we go on. Audio from 2020 was obtained by USA Today. Abrego Garcia's wife pleaded with a judge for protection from her own husband. A warning, the audio is difficult for some younger viewers especially to hear. Watch and listen.
He grabbed me from my hair and then he slapped me. I have pictures of the evidence, like all the bruises, because even on Wednesday, he hit me like around 3 in the morning. He would just wake up and hit me. He slapped me 3 times, and then last week I did call the police. My sister called the police because he hit me in front of my sister.
His wife responded to the audio with this statement. My husband was traumatized from the time he spent in ICE detention, and we were in the throes of COVID. Like many couples, we were caring for our children with barely enough to get by. All of those factors contributed to the actions which caused me to seek the protective order. We reached out to lawmakers that went to, or who went to El Salvador for their reaction to the audio. No responses on that yet. However, Van Hollen's team referred us back to the press conference from yesterday. Highway Patrol also released this 2022 body cam footage of an encounter with Abrego Garcia. Watch this.
How are you? Good, and you? All right. Everything good? You got a bunch of people in here, don't you? It's 1 for seat. Yes. Go back to work. I ain't never seen a Suburban with 4 rows of seats.
You know what you got here, right?
No.
He's hauling these people for money. They don't have any luggage in there, right? And if you get them out, they're gonna have a toothpaste and they're gonna have toothbrushes in their pockets. I guarantee it.
He's got $1,400 cash in his pocket in an envelope.
Troopers ultimately cited Abrego Garcia for driving with an expired license and let him go. The FBI later ordered that case to be dropped. Look, Mary Katharine, there is a long history now with just this one man, and it seems to get longer every day. Again, this is an issue again. Democrats jumped in early to defend him. Your thoughts?
Yes. Well, yes, when you look at this, the question becomes, for whom do Democrats wish to stand? And for whom do they put all their energy into standing and fighting, right? And the answer is Abrego Garcia became the poster child for them. And it probably was a strategic error. Here, I will say this. The administration says it messed up by sending him to El Salvador versus another country. They should rectify that mistake and deport him elsewhere because he is eminently deportable, as illustrated by the fact that it is not in dispute that he was here illegally for 11 years and that he has all these things on his record, including being adjudicated by an immigration judge at one point as MS-13. Like, American voters look at these guys and they go, there's Americans captive all over the world who you're not saying anything about, including Edan Alexander, who's still in Gaza. They say nothing about these folks. They send the message that they care more about illegal immigrants and the process due to them than they do to Americans in the system and the process due to them. By the way, the victims sitting in the Wisconsin court when the Milwaukee judge decided to escort their alleged attacker out of the courtroom, fighting for him, not for the Americans who had been victimized by him. This is the message that they continue to send. Not that they're standing up for process, but that they're standing up for these folks.
Look, Abrego Garcia went to El Salvador per our country. He was on a final deportation order. They sent him to his home country. Right. And I don't know if you'll remember this, but he fought going there because he said a rival gang would come after him. Yes. Yet Dems are still trying to chase the narrative that he was never even considered to be in a gang. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. They'll have to deport him here, then deport him away to a different country. But he doesn't belong in the United States either way.
I agree.
All right.
I agree.
Good to
And that's been fairly obvious from the day one.
Thank you so very much. Good to have you in focus.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.